There have been some reports of impacts in Tel Aviv, some reports of impacts which have taken place in Haifa as well. We do know that Israeli interceptors have been hitting many of the incoming targets. But just describe for our viewers who are now tuning in what you heard approximately half an hour back when the sirens went on and you were asked to actually get into that bunker. All right, I think we've lost that line with Ankit. We'll come back to him in a little while from now. What I can do, however, is play out these images, full frame, right, of the Tel Aviv skyline, and you can hear a lot over here. All right, I'm joined now by Ricky Rosen, who's reporting for NDTV. Ricky, thank you very much for being with us. Where exactly are you right now, and can you give us an idea of the strikes taking place?
I am at the outskirts of Tel Aviv. You can see behind me the building that was hit 5 days ago. You can see it.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we're not allowed to report on the exact places where the missiles hit, but they are saying that 30 missiles were sent and at least 10 fell in places mostly in central Israel in the area of Tel Aviv.
Could you give us an idea of what you've been hearing? There are presumably a lot of sirens, presumably people running to bunkers right now. Because it is a very intense attack, and as I understand it, the most intense attack by Iran in the last 30 odd hours. So could you just tell us what's been developing around you in, let's say, the last half an hour?
In the last half an hour, there were 2 or 3 series of sirens just in my area, but it included throughout the north and the south of Israel, which presents a challenge, to say the least, to the Iron Dome defensive system that is supposed to intercept these missiles. And that's why we're hearing of at least 10 missile hits in various parts of the country. The picture that you're showing now is on the coast, one of the coastal towns, but we're not allowed to identify which, but it's in the area of central Israel.
And Ricky, just by way of information, what are people around you saying now that America has joined the conflict?
Most Israelis welcome it because this was what was promised by the Prime Minister Netanyahu, that he would start the war and either he or Trump would finish it. And it seems now that Trump has joined and destroyed the 3 major nuclear plants. I think that Israelis are also very worried because they see the power that is being unleashed by Iran, that, as you said, is more than has been in the last 9 days in every part of the country.
Is it almost inevitable now, and this is all, just me asking you for your personal opinion, that there would be more Israeli strikes on Iran right away? They may even have started right now, given the fact that Iran has launched these attacks, very intense ones.
I think the Israeli Air Force took a pause after coordinating with the American Air Force, but now I'm sure that they will be going back to hit some of the sites from which missiles were launched.
All right, Ricky, hold your thought for half a second. We've got our other correspondent, Ankit Tyagi. He's just out of a bunker right now in another part of Tel Aviv and joins us now. Ankit, go ahead. Have the air siren, has the all clear been sounded?
That's right, Vishnu. We just came out of the shelter that we were at this moment, about 18 odd people in a small shelter. But as we speak, the air raid sirens are off. In fact, the message on the phones show that the emergency at this moment is over. We yet don't know what are the areas and if there is any damage which Tel Aviv has taken at this moment. But I can tell you, let me just try and if I turn around my camera, I will be able to show you from this that people are back, on the streets. Cars have started moving, and as soon as the air raid siren went off, it's more or less, business as usual in Tel Aviv. But we will have to wait and see for the confirmation from the defense forces on the areas and the targets which have been hit, and also if there is any damage which the city has sustained. This is, of course, at this moment just past 8 o'clock. It is about 8:15 here, 8:15, and half an hour almost we had to stay inside the shelters all across. But life back to normalcy more or less here in Tel Aviv, as you see the vehicles moving on the streets. But because when the air raid sirens went off, everybody, even if you were on the road, people were asked to, in fact, very quickly reach some of the safe shelters. And as we speak, people are emerging from those safe shelters, Vishnu, and going about their normal life.
Isn't it bizarre, Ankit, that just 10 minutes back you were in a shelter surrounded by people, all chit-chatting, as if, this is something that just happens. You go to the bunker and then it's all over and you're out back. This is the way it's been now for several weeks in Israel. You're in and out of that shelter constantly.
Probably for the first time in my life, I have experienced anything like this, Vishnu, where people so nonchalantly were taking this whole thing. It's part of their routine. It's part of their daily life, and they have been trained for this right from the beginning. Like you were saying, of course, heightened tensions in the past few weeks. But remember, this is not the first conflict that Israel is in fact facing, and continuously it's more or less been a part of life for the people. I was talking to them, though worried. I mean, their family members all across worried as soon as any thud was heard. Everybody was on the WhatsApp group trying to see if their family members are all right. But still chatting, still joking around. An old gentleman played out some Raj Kapoor songs on his phone as well. So while the situation on the outside is tense, but this is the kind of preparedness that this country has seen with its citizens, almost prepared every moment for these kind of situations, and they deal with it as a part of their daily life.
All right, and Ankit, it's all quiet now. Cars back out on the roads. Just in terms of another piece of information which our Indian viewers would certainly want to talk about, and thanks very much for showing us, those cars on the road. People get off the road, get into bunkers, get out of bunkers, and then life slowly starts resuming. The information we have is that the plan to evacuate Indian nationals from Israel is underway. We don't know the exact stage where this is. This would be the evacuation of Indians from the land route. This is an important piece of information that we'd like to share with our viewers. It comes in addition to the news we've been reporting over the last 24 odd hours of the evacuations of Indian nationals from Tehran and other parts of Iran, I should say, which have been taking place. So that is underway. We'll give you an update of that in a little while from now. But there are impacts which have taken place in Tel Aviv and perhaps elsewhere. Ankit isn't allowed to reveal the exact location of the impact in Israel, but I think the footage now available does indicate that there have been some impacts as well. Ankit, were you able to actually hear the sound of the impacts and perhaps the sound of interceptors being launched? Because that's a very, very loud sound as well. Just describe to us, if you can, if you were able to hear what was happening outside.
There were a few loud thuds that were heard inside that bunker. I can also tell you on the social media here, there are some visuals of some places which have taken a hit. But like you pointed out, Vishnu, we exactly don't know the locations. It will only have to be confirmed by the Israeli Defense Forces before, in fact, it can be revealed and certainly said that, which are the areas which have been impacted. But some loud thuds for sure, which were some anxious moments as far as the people in the bunker were concerned. But we yet don't know whether there was any contact on the ground here in Tel Aviv or those were interceptors doing their job. But most people did say that this is possibly the largest volley which has come in from Iran, and we spent about half an hour, 35 minutes in that bunker. Usually they said it's just about 10 to 15 minutes and then you are out. So it also gives you a sense of the increasing tensions and the hostilities, and of course the increasing rate of retaliation as far as Iran is concerned. Now remember, it becomes also important because both Prime Minister Netanyahu here in Israel and US President Donald Trump has said that if there is a retaliation from Iran, things will escalate. Now they are waiting to see what happens and the kind of response that this volley, this latest round from Iran meets from the Israeli side.